Thanks for stopping by. There was a stillness in the air that evening as Jansen struck out upon the moor. The damp had clung on despite the descent of summer to autumn, and led to nothing but a disinteresting chill that often, in turn, had led Jansen to scurry off and nestle himself into one of the more well-cushioned corners of the shop he called home. Now, Jansen considered the chill disinteresting, not in any way bordering displeasure. In fact, Jansen loved early mornings in spring, where the mists danced and twirled around him as he trod between cobbles. It was rather due to the lasting sluggishness that followed through the next morning until mid-afternoon, when a good book and a steeping pot of cindersill petals from his own miniature cindersill he had lovingly harvested during his trek along the alabaster quays were the only remedy. Yes, indeed, the same alabaster quays that had sundered during the wars of abandonment. Yes, it was such a travesty. Oh, of course, the legends didn't live up. Jansen would recount with the faintest bemusement to anyone with a willing ear, to petting an actual shimmering eel, and even, with the pause added to draw in his audience, being allowed to harvest a few spines for his personal collection. They were now situated as war sabers would be over his study mantle, and if he left out that the shimmering eel he pet had been a captive child, and that the spines had been harvested from a washed-up corpse, well, none were the wiser for a much better tale. It was the same study that Jansen would rather be sipping tea in, perhaps with a watercress sandwich on honeyed walnut bread. He had traded Emily some bundles of bloodroot, woad, and lavender for a few loaves once. He had worn his tweed pants that day, and she had been in a dress of the faintest violet. Jansen now skipped over the gnarled and rooted path's next few steps, hurrying his journey along. While still an hour or two from night proper, Jansen rarely went out after dark. However, his herbs needed tending, and Mrs. Catherby was rather chatty in retrieving her order. Something about her numerous cats eating her prized azaleas. Why she did not just grow her own catnip was beyond him. She certainly had inquired enough about the nature and care of the many plants in his stock, and had been quite knowledgeable in her own right. But Jansen was recounting how the shimmering eel had gotten its name over watercress sandwiches on an early spring morning with Emily, her having just laughed at his joke in a way that caught the light in her eyes. They had shimmered much like the flickering hues of street lamps against the yellowing birch trees he now strode under. Certainly not with Mrs. Catherby, and the proposition of examining her ailing rhododendrons while her husband and sons were out hunting. No, he was on his way to Emily, and was even wearing those same tweed pants that she had said hugged him just right. Her laugh was light and full of mirth when she said they were her favorite, a memory that still fluttered in his heart like falling leaves. Just like the flowers of the cindersill was her favorite, and the marvelous tales he had brought back with it. At full bloom it almost radiated in soft purples and specks of blues, same as the flower he had brought tonight to lay on her grave. There he would recount his comings and goings before making his daily trek back home in the soft quiet of night. But for now there was Emily, always patiently listening as he paraded around and faffed about, and dreams of watercress on fresh honeyed walnut bread. And that was better than any corner in some musty old shop. I titled that one, Feels Like Dusk. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day. Take care.